know what? I have a soft spot for Lightspeed Rescue. Maybe it's because Carter Grayson's an awesome Red Ranger. Maybe it's because I like the suit designs. Maybe it's the whole military theme. Or maybe just because it feels so nostalgic, like an old school throwback to way back to Mighty Morphin. Back to basic season, if you would. I don't know, I have a soft spot for this one. I know it's very flawed, but I still think it's enjoyable. But before I get to my actual thoughts, let's do the usual overly informative stuff, shall we? Starting with the main Rangers, we have Dana, the Pink Ranger, played by Allison McInnes. We have Kelsey, the Yellow Ranger, played by Sasha Williams. Joel, the Green Ranger, one of the funniest Rangers in the entire Pantheon, played by Keith Robinson. Chad, played by Michael Chaturentable. Sorry for completely butchering your name. I'll just call it Chatura. Michael Chatura, Chad the Blue Ranger. Then, like I said, one of the most awesome Red Rangers ever in Sean C.W. Johnson's Carter Grayson. Seriously, awesome Red Ranger. And then you have Titanium Ranger Ryan, played by Rhett Fisher. And then for the crossover characters, of course, the Galaxy Rangers. Karone, Maya, Damon, Kai, and Leo. And apparently this would be Leo's last time on Power Rangers, because apparently behind the scenes there's another pay dispute, and he just walked off set. It sucks when it happens, but it happens. Moving on to the supporting cast, we're gonna have to get a little sad for a moment, because 3 of these people in this cast are sadly passed away, so I want to acknowledge them and give them their flowers. So first up we have Captain Mitchell, played by Ron Rage, sorry for mispronouncing your name. Then there's Angela Fairweather, played by Monica Lorenz, which is the love interest of Joel, the Green Ranger, and they end up getting married later on. And then for the 3 Ranger actors that have sadly passed away, we have General McKnight, played by Burt Kramer. We have Earl, played by Hal Ingrid, and Neptune, played by Harry Frazier. All 3 actors have sadly passed away for a couple of different reasons. So, let's take a moment to, explain what happened to each one. I know this is going to be a bit of a sad moment, but I feel like it needs to be acknowledged. So let's start with Burt Kramer. He was the 3rd ever Ranger actor to pass away. He passed away in 2001 at the age of 66 from melanoma. Rest in peace. Then the second one was Hal. Hal England was the 5th ever Ranger actor to pass away. He passed away in 2003 at the age of 71 from heart failure. Poor guy. Then Harry Frazier was the 11th actor to pass away. He passed away in 2007 at the age of 77 from natural causes. Yeah, it's sad, but yeah, so rest in peace to all 3 of those actors, and they will forever live on in Ranger history. Okay, now back to your actual regularly scheduled review. Then you have Marina, played by Cameron Walton. Pretty much a rip-off of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. That's pretty much it. Moving on to the villains, this is a pretty short list, so let's just fly through these pretty quickly. There's Queen Shira, voiced by Diane Salinger. There's Prince Olympus, voiced by Michael Forrest. Diabolico, voiced by Neil Kaplan. Loki, voiced by David Lodge. Vibra, voiced and played by Jennifer Alien, the worst actor of the season. And it's not entirely their fault. The directing is also a little bit to blame there. And it is fixed later on when she comes back in Time Force, but yeah, that is a big shame. That Viper is such a bad villain. Bad villain, bad acting, just ugh. No one likes Viper. And then don't even get me started on that stupid go-kart thing she rides around in, just no thanks. Then you have Jinxer, played by Benson Jennings, and then you have the Batlings for the foot soldiers of the season. And once again, they're fine. Moving on to the weapons, this one's also pretty short. We have, for the universal weapons, there's the Rescue Blasters, the V-Lancers, and the Thermoblasters. And then moving on to the Ranger-specific weapons, you have Rescue Claw for red, Rescue Laser for blue, Rescue Cutter for green, Rescue Drill for yellow, and Rescue Injector for pink. I should also point out that the Pink Ranger is the daughter of Captain Mitchell, before I forget. And then those combine together to make the Rescue Bird. Bit of a weird name for a combined weapon, but whatever. And the Titanium Laser, for obviously the Titanium Ranger. Then moving on to the Battleizer, you have the Battle Boosters. And then in a feat that actually has not yet been repeated in Ranger history to my recollection or knowledge, the Battleizer of the season doesn't go to the Red Ranger. It actually goes to the Green and Blue Ranger. Isn't that strange? The Lightspeed Mega Battle Armor. The Green and Blue Ranger get a Battleizer, but not the Red? Huh. You don't see that every day. Moving on to the vehicles, you have the Lightspeed Cycle, and then you have, exclusive to the Red Ranger, the Mobile Armor and the Trans Armor Cycle. And then you have the Rescue Rover. That's the Jeep they drive around in to get from place to place. That pops up more than a few times later on, even after this season's over. Then moving on to the Zords. This one's short and sweet. You have the Rescue Zords, Pyro for red, Aqua for blue, Arrow for green, Haz for yellow, and Med for pink. And the Max Solar Zord, which is pretty much the train. Then you have the Rail Rescues, 1 through 5, which are the smaller trains. And then you have the Megazords 1 through 5. They're fine. Then for the Megazords, you have Lightspeed, Lightspeed Solar, Life Force, Super Train Omega, and Orion Omega. They're fine. I do like the rocket-esque Gatling gun friggin' thing it has on one of its arms, which is pretty sweet. But aside from that, it's an okay design. Moving on to the essential episodes, you have Operation Lightspeed, which is the pilot. Then you have the Banshira arc, which is 2 episodes long, with Go Volcanic and Rising from Ashes. Then you have From Deep in the Shadows, that's the start of the Titanium arc, and then it concludes in the next episode, Truth Discovered. Then you have Ryan's Destiny, where Ryan officially joins the team, the Titanium Ranger becomes good, and breaks away from Diabolico. But then that leads into the 3-part Cobra Curse arc, the Cobra tattoo. You have Curse of Cobra, Strength of Sun, and Cobra Strikes. And then you have the Return of Banshira arc, Part 1 and 2, Olympia's Ascends in Face of the Past. And then the actual Return of Banshira in Queen's Return. Then you have the intro of the Omega Megazord and Omega Project. That one's self-explanatory. Then you have Trakena's Revenge 1 and 2, which is the crossover with Lost Galaxy. Why they made it 2 parts is beyond me, but whatever. And then you have the Endgame arc, which is Wrath of the Queen, Rise of Super Demons, and then the finale, Fate of Lightspeed, Part 1 and 2. Okay, that's the analytical stuff. Now to talk about my overall thoughts of this season, so I can get this video done, get everything edited and uploaded, then I can go to sleep. Lightspeed Rescue is definitely a very flawed season. I like the cast, yes, and again, rest in peace to those 3 actors, they did a great job. Even though they were all in, I think, only 1 episode apiece, but they still did a good job, and they need to be acknowledged. I like the Ranger suit designs, very unique and interesting. I like the arcs. I like the main Ranger cast themselves. Probably one of the stronger ones in Power Rangers, if you ask me. I like the military setting. I like the concept of them fighting demons, even though it's not very well executed. And Queen Ben Shira is a good final villain, as far as Power Rangers go, anyway. What are my problems with the season? Well, some episodes are very slow. The whole fighting demons concept is completely wasted because it just turns out very underwhelming. The writing's not the best. A few episodes are a bit iffy. Like, I hate that one episode that Dino leaves the Rangers and becomes a fashion model and pretty much just becomes a stuck-up snob. Like, I hate that episode, and I hate that they did that to the character. It's just a hard time to explain what's wrong with this season. Because for every good idea it has a bad one right around the corner waiting to happen. And the crossover itself with Lost Galaxy is just okay. Like, the story with that crossover just sucks, and it takes way too long to actually get to what you're waiting to see. But I still have a soft spot for this season. I do like the Ranger cast, and again, I do think Carter, while not my personal favorite Red Ranger, that's later down the line, he's still pretty awesome and definitely a top 10 worthy one. And the Ranger cast themselves are really good, but it just feels bogged down by some bad writing, a few lousy episodes, and a pretty weak crossover. So, yeah, final verdict for Lightspeed Rescue is a 6. I have a soft spot for it, but it's very flawed, and it's a far cry from Lost Galaxy and In Space that came before it. Now join me next time when we take a look at what is by far one of the most amazing, awesome, incredible seasons of Power Rangers, and arguably the best since In Space, with Power Rangers Time Force.